You got louder light. Let's go talk about the aquarium. Yes, people, what's good and welcome back to the channel, guys. So you want your first reef aquarium, guys. I ain't gonna lie, this hobby is expensive, but we love what we do and we love to flex. All right, guys, so let's talk about lighting. You got louder light. Let's go talk about the aquarium. Yeah. So you want your first aquarium. So you chose the size of the aquarium that you wanted, where you wanted to put it, and it's there, ready to rock. Empty glass box with a sump underneath. Now, a sump is another little aquarium that goes underneath the main display of your tank where you house your equipment or your life support for your system. So let's start from the top. Let's start from lighting, guys. So with lighting, yeah, ensure that your lighting is correct or is in the right spectrum and design for a marine aquarium or reef aquarium to provide the correct lighting for your inhabitants. So if you're going to have corals in there, ensure that you can program your lights in such a way that these corals are receiving what they need or require to grow, color up, and look amazing in your tank. Now, going down to the main tank itself, the display, let's talk about circulation. So I'll always recommend some form of circulation pump. So it can be a gyre, which provides a lateral flow along the water surface in a rotation throughout the water column, yeah? Or you can have conical circulation pumps like MP10s or Neros, where it comes out literally like an ice cream cone. It starts from one point and it rotates and spreads out into your system, ensuring that your water movement is enough to have gas exchange so that everything can start thriving, basically. Now let's talk about your sump. So your sump is like the inner works of the human body, yeah? Is where your heartbeat or your life support is, what keeps you ticking. Within the aquarium, with a sump, that's where everything goes that keeps your system from crashing, right? So first things first, guys, let's talk about a decent heater. Now there's two types of heaters you can use in this hobby, or most common in this hobby, are the titanium ones, which is kind of like a heating element in itself, and you can use a glass programmable heater. Now, both are very good at what they do. However, I'll always recommend some form of controller for both types of heater. So with the titanium one, you will need a programmable controller to tell it when to come on, when to shut off. So I always recommend to people starting off in the hobby, keep your parameters for your heating around 25 degrees Celsius, for your heater to come on, and to go off maybe about 26.2, 26.3 to go off. Yeah. So the way it works is there's a probe from the controller that checks the temperature of your water. If it gets too cold, heater comes on. If it gets too hot, heater goes off. How it works. Now, with the glass programmable heater, you kind of have like a little redundancy on there. You can program your heater, especially like EHIM heaters, to come on at a certain temperature and go off at a certain temperature. And the next thing is, guys, with a reef tank, with feeding and fish and everything else, you will have waste. So you will need something to help take out that waste from your water column. So I always recommend a skimmer to be placed in your sump to help take off all that fish muck and all that coral slot, whatever it is in your system that's waste. A skimmer will help you get rid of it. Now, just like in the human body, we need some form of heart to pump the blood around our bodies, yeah? So we need a decent pump to get the water from the sump back into the main display. It's a must, guys. So you can go with Ecotech, D&D. There's so many pumps out there you could choose from. Just ensure the size of the pump is correct and it can keep up with the flow rate you're trying to achieve for your system. Now, the next thing I would recommend is a reactor, possibly, but I would say if you're just setting up your system, you may not need a reactor. You may need one down the line. So whatever skimmer you buy or sump, ensure that there's enough space to add a reactor if you need it. Right, so that's the basic equipment set up, ready to rock, all plugged in, not switched on. Next thing you have to look at is your aquascape. Now, it's easy to say that we're going to fill it with rock, yeah, and then fill it with water. I would say definitely don't do that. What you need to do is ensure that the aquascape that you're building ensures that there's enough space around and above the aquascape so that when corals grow up and sideways, you have enough space to grow and that you have a gap there so that your corals don't hit the glass and it just looks ridiculous. So you have the aquascape in there. Next thing I recommend is to go for some sand. A lot of people will go for a no sand bed aquarium or bare bottom aquarium. It's all up to you what you want to do, but I always recommend go for some sand in there. It just makes the aquarium look a bit more natural. Now, you can use a live sand that you can purchase from your local fish shop, I recommend that as well because you have some bacteria in there that will really get into the water column and help you cycle your system. All right, cool. So sandbeds in there, rockworks in there. We need to get the system wet. Yeah. So we can go two ways. We can go natural seawater, or we can go synthetic seawater. Synthetic seawater is when we purchase a bucket of salt from maybe Tropic Marine, Red Sea, D&D, whatever it is, they produce these salt buckets that we can add pure water to. Now, the pure water we get is called RDI water, it's reverse osmosis deionized water, and all it is pumping regular tap water through this filter unit, and it takes away all the things that we don't need, the dissolved solids, the phosphates, anything that contaminates that water. It removes it, and then it leaves us with pure H2O, which gives us a blank slate. We can add our salt in there, mix that water until it gets to about 1.025, 1.026 specific gravity, or 55 parts per thousand. Second way we can go around filling this aquarium is to go for the natural seawater, like what I've done. So natural seawater, the way it works is a company goes out to the ocean or to the coastline where it's decent enough and not polluted, get some water there, fill up a couple of tankers, go back to their factory, purify that water, ensure it's clean with all the crap that we don't need, ensure that all the bacteria, the plankton, trace elements, alkalinity, everything that we require on a natural, pure level, is maintained and retained in that water. Fill up a couple of barrels for you and then take it to your house where you can fill up your aquarium. Right, so the system has water in there, you're ready to rock. Join me for the next video where I talk about the parameters you need to maintain for your system once you've added water and you are ready to start the cycling process.